Okay.
So the Gryphon showed Peter the way to the underworld. The Gryphon said, look at that hole, that deep hole. You can go down to the underworld. Okay. So he said goodbye to the Gryphon and he went to the hole and he looked down. He looked down. It was deep. It was very deep. How am I going to get down here? Oh, he had a piece of rope. So he let the rope down the hole. He let the rope down the hole and he climbed down the rope. And he climbed down. It was a long way down. But once he was down, he looked around, and it was a beautiful day down there. The sky was blue, the sun was shining, there was no rain, and there was a beautiful palace. Okay. So he said, I'll have a look. So he went to the palace and he knocked. Bang, bang, bang. The king's daughter looked out. Who's that? It's me, Peter. I'm Peter. And what do you want? What are you doing here? I have come to take you back to your father. Oh my! This is the dragon's palace. The seven-headed dragon's palace. The seven-headed dragon has 7 heads. The dragon isn't at home, but he is coming soon, and when he is back, it will be the end of you. He will kill you. Please, go away. I don't want you to die, she said. I am not afraid of 7-headed dragons. Let me go in. Are you sure? Absolutely. I want to go in and wait for the dragon to come home. Okay. So she opened the door for him to enter the palace, but she was crying. Now the window was open, and suddenly he could hear a strange sound, a buzzing sound. What was it? Was it the dragon? No. Was it a helicopter? No. Was it an airplane? No. It was the dragon's mace. The dragon was coming home and he didn't have an iPhone to call, darling, I am coming. No. He was not on Facebook to say, darling, I am coming home. No. He had a mace, and as he was coming home, he simply threw his mace home from a long, long way. So his mace was coming, and it came through the window, and the wall opposite the window, it hit the wall, and it got stuck in the wall. In the wall, you know. And Peter walked to the wall and got the mace and pulled it out. Yeah. But the dragon was already there, and he was very angry. And he said, "Who's that? Who is here? I can smell something. Who is it? And Peter said, it's me, and this is the end of you. And he hit the dragon with the dragon's mace. He hit one head of the dragon, he hit the second head, he hit the third head, he hit the fourth head, he hit the fifth head, the sixth, and the seventh. Very fast. And it was the end of the dragon. She said, wow. She said, let's go and find my sisters. Okay, so the two of them walked out of the palace, and the princess had a wand. She had the wand in her hand. She turned round and she hit the palace with the wand. Bang! And the palace turned into a golden apple. And the princess picked up the apple and she put it away. And the two of them walked on. They walked on happily, and they saw another palace. She said, that's the palace of the 12-headed dragon who took my middle sister. Yeah. So they went to the palace, and Peter knocked on the door. Knock, knock, knock. And the sister of this princess, the middle sister, looked out of the window. Who's that? It's me, I am Peter. Oh, what are you doing here? I have come to take you back home to your father. He's very unhappy. Oh, but this is the 12-headed dragon's palace. And he's coming home, and when he is back, he will kill you. Please, go away. I don't want you to die. I am not going to die, but the dragon is going to kill you, she said. No, I'm not afraid of the dragon. Please let me in. Are you sure? Absolutely. Are you absolutely sure? Absolutely, let me in. Come on. I want to take you back to your father. Okay, okay, come in. And she opened the door. He went in, and the window was open, and he heard the buzzing sound. It was the 12-headed dragon's mace, flying from far away. He was coming home, and the first thing he did was not texting, not giving a telephone call, not sending a message on Facebook, no. He simply threw his mace home from a long way. And it was, and it came through the window, and it hit the wall, and it got stuck in the wall. And Peter walked up to the mace, and he grabbed it, and he pulled it out of the wall, and the wall collapsed. But the dragon was already at home, and he was very angry. He said, "Who is here? Who is here? I can smell human smell, human odor. Who is here?" "I'm Peter," he said, "and this is my introduction." He had the dragon's mace, and he hit the dragon as many times as he had heads. He had 12 heads, so he hit him 12 times, and that was the end of the dragon. Wow, said the princess. Where is the princess? That was the only thing she was able to say. Wow. Let's go and find my sister. Okay, let's go. So they walked out of the palace, and she had a wand. She turned around, and where is the palace? Where is the palace? She turned around, the princess, and she hit the palace with her wand, like this. And the palace turned into a golden apple. She picked up the apple and put it away. And the three of them went on. The two princesses and Peter. Peter and the two princesses. They went on until they saw another palace. It was standing on a duck's leg, on a duck's foot, and it was revolving round and round and round. Peter grabbed the palace and it stopped. Then he knocked on the door. Bang, bang, bang. And the oldest daughter of the king looked out of the window and she asked, "Who's that?" And he said, "I'm Peter and I've come for you. I've come to take you back home to your father." "Oh no, this is the 21-headed dragon's castle. He is not at home, but he is coming home. And when he is back, he will kill you. I don't want you to die," she said, but she was already crying. "I'm not going to die. Don't talk silly things. But I know the dragon. He is very dangerous. He's going to kill you." "No, no, no, no. He's not going to kill me. I'm going to kill him. Just let me in. We don't have time to waste. I am in a hurry. Come on." "Are you sure?" "Absolutely. Please open the door." "Okay." So she opened the door crying, and he went in. The window was open because that dragon didn't have an iPhone either. He was coming home and he simply threw his mace from a long way. They could hear the buzzing sound. And the mace came through the window. It hit the wall and it got stuck in the wall. But Peter walked up to the wall. He grabbed the mace and pulled it out, and the wall collapsed. But the dragon was already at home and he was very angry. He said, "Who is here? I can smell human odor. Who is here?" "I'm Peter and I have come to take this beautiful lady home to his father, who is a king." "What?" asked the dragon. But that was the last thing he had time to ask, because Peter had the mace. He had it in his hand and he moved his hand very fast. And he hit the dragon's heads. He hit the dragon as many times as he had heads. That was 21 times. 21 heads. Bam, 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 bam. very fast. So that was the end of the dragon. And the oldest daughter of the king saw this, and all she could say was, "Wow." And she said, "So we can go home." "Yes, we can go home." All right. So they walked out of the palace. And of course, this princess also had a wand. She turned round and hit the palace with her wand, and the palace turned into a golden apple. She picked up the apple and put it away. And her two sisters were already waiting for her outside. So the four of them, Peter and the three girls, the three princesses, started to walk back to the hall. You remember, Peter left the rope at the bottom of the hall. But now when they got to the hall, the rope was gone. It wasn't there. Now that was a problem because it was a long way up. So Peter didn't know what to do. "Oh, come on, I had a rope, but the rope is gone. I don't know what happened to the rope. I left it here, but it isn't here. This is a big problem." The Gryphon gave me a whistle. Where is the whistle? And he had the whistle in his bag. So he took the whistle out of the bag and he blew it. And they waited. What's going to happen? And suddenly they heard something. It was the Gryphon. He came down the hall from up there. He came down and he asked, "What's up? What's the problem?" And he said, "Well, I have the three princesses with me and we want to go up there. I had a piece of rope. I left it here, but it's gone. We can't go up." "All right, I can help you. Just sit on my back, you four, and hold fast." So Peter and the three girls, the three princesses, sat on the back of the Gryphon. And he asked, Are you holding fast? Are you holding on fast?" Yeah, okay. "Can we go?" "Yes." And he went. He took off. Up the hall. It was a long way. The Gryphon flew for, I think it was 3 years. The journey lasted 3 years up from the underworld. But finally, they were at the top of the hall, up there. Wow. So the Gryphon said goodbye to them, and he flew back home to the top of that tall tree. And they walked home to the king. Now, by the time they got to the king's castle, it was night. It was dark night. So the lights were out and the palace was dark and everything was dark. It was midnight. So they couldn't get in. They didn't want to knock on the door in the middle of the night. So what they did was every princess had her golden apple. So they took their apples, put them on the ground, and they took their apples, put them on the ground, and they each princess hit the apple, and the apple turned into a palace. And every princess did this. The oldest, the medium one, and the youngest one. So in the end, they had 3 palaces like that, opposite the king's castle. So they all went home, each in her own palace. And in the morning, when the king woke up and he opened the window and looked out, he saw 3 palaces opposite his own palace. He was amazed. These palaces were not here last night. Yesterday evening there was nothing here. What happened? And then suddenly he could see his 3 daughters coming towards his palace. And Peter was with them. So the 4 of them were coming to meet him. And then he realized what happened. So you have brought back my daughters. Yes, I have. Oh, okay. That's wonderful. He was so happy. He couldn't say a word. He just hugged his daughters, he kissed his daughters, and all his daughters hugged him and kissed him. They loved their father, and their father loved them very much. But in the end, he was able to speak, and he said, "Okay, I remember what I told you, young man. I told you that I would give you half my kingdom if you bring back my daughters. You have brought back my daughters, so I will give you not half my kingdom, because I am old. I'll give you all my kingdom. So you will be king. But I am not going to give you all my daughters, just one, as I said. But you make your pick. Which of my daughters do you want? The oldest, the medium one, or the youngest one?" And all the king's daughters were beautiful, but he was really in love with the youngest one. So he said, I want the youngest one, the youngest daughter of yours. "Okay, so let her be your wife," the king said. And so Peter became king of the country, and the king's youngest daughter became his wife, the queen of the country. And they lived happily ever after. And that's the end of the story. Yeah.